Hello all, A Knife's Tale here. Hoping you're having a good day, and bringing you a knife review today. This is the We Knife Black Void Opus? Void Opus, something like that. It's got a couple names on there. It's a Justin Lundquist design, as you can see there. This particular knife is in CPM 20CV, which is almost impossible to see. It's down there, real tiny. Titanium. This variant is inlaid with some pretty nice carbon fiber, actually. It is on washers. It is a liner lock. And as you can see, it is a front flipper and a pretty small knife overall. In fact, it's quite small. This is about as small as I'd ever carry for a primary knife. I can get my fingers on it, but it's pretty darn compact. And it folds up into a very compact form. Let us move on, jump into specifications real quick and get that out of the way. And it's not going to stand well because the way the pocket clip sits on it, it's going to want to not orient itself, so you're just going to have to bear with me here. The blade length is a little over 2 3/4, so 2.75 inches, probably about maybe 2.8, maybe. Overall, it's only 6 inches and 7/8. So, yeah, that, like 3.85-ish, maybe? It's not very big. 3.85, sorry, 6.85. I'm already losing my mind. Almost exactly 4 inches on the handle. Make some quick comparisons. Let's get this stuff out of the way. To the sibling brands of Civivi, Elementum, small knife, and the Conspirator, full-size knife. And as you can pretty much see, this thing is actually a tiny bit smaller than the Elementum. It is predominantly the blade. You use a tiny bit of handle, but it's mostly, I think, kind of the blade that you're actually losing a little bit more on. But it's hairs. It's very close. And normally I say this is the smallest knife I would ever carry, but that's because the actual handle grip size is very... You probably actually have a little bit more on the Void. Carry profile, and this is where this knife is a little bit interesting. It's a little bit thick. It is, in fact, considerably thicker than the Elementum. It is fully contoured. Well, I don't know if I'd call that... Yeah, I guess even the titanium is contoured. That's mostly the inlay that's contoured, but yeah, even that's technically contoured. It's pretty thick for its size. In fact, it might be... It's about the same as the Conspirator, maybe a tiny bit thicker at its apex. But in every other dimension, it's pretty tiny. It's slimmer than arguably the Elementum, even if it is a tiny bit longer with that little mohawk sticking up there. Peeking out and saying hi. Hardware is all T8, though it's literally 2 screws. That's it. Thickness is actually 533 thousandths, so yeah, at its apex, it's a little tiny bit thicker than the Civivi Conspirator. The blade stock thickness is 126 thousandths, probably shooting for 125 there. And behind the edge is extremely difficult. I'm actually not 100% sure how to measure behind the edge on this knife. If anybody who ever sees this would like to comment and tell me how I would go about that. This knife is chisel ground. So it is completely flat ground on one side with no bevel whatsoever. It comes straight down. the bevel only exists on one side. So what would I compare it to as far as thickness goes? Just like the opposite side that's about the same, I guess. $14-ish thousandths behind the edge. It's, I guess that's where you would be. It functions quite a bit different. This side, as you can see, is got the bevel, and it's a flat ground knife, but it only goes in on one side. Weight of the Opus. Open, please. Can you see that in there? There we go. Why did that? Okay. I don't know. 2.77 ounces. So this is pretty much an ounce an inch. So this is for a titanium knife. That's a dog. That while it's small, you're getting basically an ounce an inch. It's very compact and very dog. Oh, final comparison would be the AA batteries, just for convenience sake. And the whole handle is about as long as the AA battery is. And honestly, even though you kind of have a stop here, you can grip right up to it, and maybe even a little bit on it, and you're not feeling anything. So, comfort-wise and size-wise, you're pretty open, and you've got almost 2 AA batteries in length to hold on to, which is not bad for the size of this knife. Alright. He's not going to stop. It's starting to get into summer, and he's not going to stop. Ever. Little rodent. Alright. Let's get into this thing. You got a heavy matte sort of stone wash on the blade. On this side, it's sterile like most Wii and Civivis, but this side has a big Justin Lundquist logo, which is very out of character for them. I mean, even Civivi and is usually pretty darn sterile. Also, why didn't they just put it up there? Just JL. They don't even need to put the Lundquist. Just JL right there. I don't know. I don't love that, but it wasn't a deal breaker or anything like that. The blade is, aside from the weird chisel grind, it's alright. It's decently sharp, but it's not as sharp as some Wii and Civivi I've encountered, right? I have a decent number of their knives. It's not as sharp, and this thing has basically barely been used. I mean, I've definitely had it in my pocket a few times, but I haven't really done enough to mess up that edge. I think it also could be slightly deceptive because of the chisel grind itself. I don't know how that's affecting things. I really just wonder, you know? Just wonder. The front flipper, as you can see, is sort of a half wheel that's really quite low, but despite that, it works quite well. You can do the reach around and the front flip, though of course you can't really do that because you don't have anything to grab onto. But it works quite well. Justin Lundquist is pretty decent with his front flipper designs. In fact, hold on a second. Where the heck did that go? I have another very similar one right here from Concept that has its own little mohawk. So this is more of like a top flipper, and this one is a little slicker due to the fact that it's been crowned. This one probably actually works better. Definitely more grippy, which is nice. Super easy to do, you just hit it. Alright. I guess anybody who can't do front flippers Might not even have as much problem with this, because like I said, the reach around is really easy on this. It's a small knife, it's compact, it's not too tall. All good to go there. Blade seat's nice and deep, but it does not center because of the chisel grind, right? Like, I'm looking down the blade, and the blade is centered, but the tip is always going to be over here, just based on the grind. You got Wii logos on the pivot, and yeah, I know it's a little off-kilter. I have disassembled this knife. It was a little bit gritty when I first got it, if I remember correctly. And I just didn't take the time to perfectly recenter that. In fact, I just don't mind it. The entire knife has that sort of slant, right? Like, it's an aggressive sort of, like, sleek, self-contained sort of long knife. And that slant, I don't know, it doesn't bother me. Got bronze, like an aged bronze titanium anno, I guess. Stonewashed? Something. It's like an aged bronze titanium anno that has been stonewashed over. Lots of stuff. And like I said, this one has really nice carbon fiber that, like, these are amazingly well fit. They are in there tight. You can feel them just a tiniest bit, but there is no gapping, nothing. And I would assume, well, I don't love it. Yeah, I would assume there is a hole in there, but I'm pretty sure they're just in with epoxy. Not my favorite attachment point, but there's also no epoxy sticking out, so on this one, at the very least, it is very, very clean. Unless that's epoxy right there. Don't know. I may be finding counter on my own argument. No epoxy. There's some. Alright. There's very little here to talk about. I mean, it's a very small knife. You've got a pocket clip, and while it works, it's super short. It's a little stiff because it's so short. It works decently well. I wish it didn't quite have that much flat at the end of it. It does make the knife considerably thicker. Right? And it's definitely something you feel. It's not uncomfortable, but you definitely can notice it. I wouldn't say it's actually uncomfortable in any grip, really, but it's definitely present. You definitely notice this thing sticking up. There's not a lot to notice, and the thing tapers back at here, so it's just relative to the handle, it's very present. But again, not uncomfortable, so I'm not complaining. My one complaint would probably be the fact that there's no slight relief cut for the lock bar. I get it. This is part of the aesthetic, right? This is that's what you're going for there. But this is a bit tight. You really have to go in from the front. It's not hard. They've got some jimping there. They got this side cut out. It's not hard to do, but it is tight. So if you really don't like that, or you're really someone who only wants to come in from the side, it's quite hard to do on this knife. The knife overall, it's an older Wii design. It's been discontinued, but you can still get them usually in different places. I've noticed. Overall, it's got that sort of older Wii action where it's smooth. It's just tight. It's reasonably smooth. It's just a bit tight. That said, I truly think that this is a knife that's worth considering if you need something small and something more gentlemanly. There are a number of variants. There's some others with carbon fiber, others with G10 inlays. And quite a few of the variants are still available, at least. Like there's a blackout version, and I think there's one with green G10 that I don't find that particularly attractive, but it is what it is. And they're almost all pretty much constantly on a decent sale price. I think you could probably go in and find them on average around $150 for a titanium Wii knife, which is actually pretty good. Sometimes when big sales go on, they'll go even low, like a Wii and Civivi sale. They might even drop lower than that to like 120 something. It's a good knife for that price. It's a really good knife for that price. You're not going to get this level of stuff usually at that kind of price point. So, it's definitely something worth looking for if you do like the style of this knife. And you need something that's a little bit more subtle and has a very attractive sort of style to it. It does. I like it. The swedge up here just creates good lines. So I'm going to just call it here. There's not much else more to say about this, right? There's nothing stand out. There's nothing bad. Except for a dog. Dog's bad. Bad dog. It's a good knife. And because they're discontinued, you can usually get it at a good price. So it might be worth considering if you like the aesthetic and you don't mind the size. That is all for this review, I think. Yeah. I'm going to end it here. See what the dog's up to. Give him what for? Nah. He's just looking out the window. He's a miniature dachshund, but he's looking out the window. He gets up on the sofa. On the back of the sofa. And walks around like a cat, I swear. So I'm going to end things here and call it review of the Black Void Opus done. See you later, guys. See you in the next one, and thanks for watching.